Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Zach, aka Keats39 here to bring you the Monday Night NFL Showdown between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens. Um, Pretty weird slate here. Um, Easy captain pick, which is not always the most fun. But honestly, there's so many guys that can fill in for your other 5 spots, so that part does make it exciting. So I'm gonna get right into this. Start with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, every single cash lineup, he's going to be your captain. Um, and no matter what build, he's in your lineup. But cash for sure. I'm going all Lamar cash captain. Honestly, I'm pretty close to all GPP Lamar captain too. I don't really see the way that he's not the high scorer, unless say Marquise Brown caught a long touchdown, or Henry Ruggs. Um, Maybe Darren Waller if he were to catch 2 touchdowns. But yeah, any optimal lineup, you're playing Lamar at captain. Really good matchup. Just don't see how he doesn't smash here. Next for Baltimore, Mark Andrews. Really do like him in this spot. They don't really have guys behind him. Last year, his snap percentage was up, but it still was not very good from what you'd want from your number one target, especially on the highest price skill guy on the team, not named Lamar Jackson, but really gets a good matchup. I see them scoring a lot of points. He's their best receiver. Um, yeah, I think this year, especially after just getting paid, I just think that he's gonna see probably the most snaps he's seen in his career, and that's only gonna equal fantasy goodness. As when you look at last year, he was actually pretty bad last year. He only scored double digits like 5 times. Was banged up a lot, but still, he's one of those tight ends that you really expect massive production from. Um, So yeah, really like him. Marquise Brown, I think, is very interesting. He's probably priced a little more than I want to pay for him, but he's actually a lot better last year than what I had remembered. Um, Probably sees a little decrease in target share. Sammy Watkins is in town. Uh, he's way better than what they had last year. And honestly, Sammy Watkins is my preferred play. Just $2,000 cheaper. I just don't see much of a difference between the two to make me want to pay the 2,000 unless. Obviously, I'm gonna have Marquise Brown exposure just because he's a big play waiting to happen. Um, but I do prefer Sammy Watkins. We all know the meme of how good he's been in week ones. Not really playing him for that reason. But I've always been a Sammy Watkins fan. He's always hurt though, which does suck. But don't forget he is very, very high draft pick with a lot of talent. Gets a lot more hate than he probably should. He's a really solid football player. One kind of overlooked playing next to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But he was good for the Chiefs while he was there. So, but I mean, you expect that Pat Mahomes. So the interesting part on the slate is going to be Tyson Williams. I do like Tyson Williams a lot. I would probably have a lot of him in this game. Report literally just came out like 2 minutes ago. He's going to see the bulk of the carries. I'm interested to see this inactives list because they went and got 3 vets in Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and Lat Murray. Obviously, Lat Murray is the one, like, if you're playing season long or any sort of regular fantasy league, that's probably who I have the most interest in. Actually, I'll lie. I have the most interest in Tyson Williams because when I look at this, I just think I think that they're both going to end up being like 1A, 1B. Tyson Williams, I just think, is going to be the starter for most of the year. A little more like fast type style guy that I think will play well with Lamar. He's a better pass catcher too. Not that that matters much. Actually, I won't say better. He's a good pass catcher. They're both pretty decent ones. Not that it matters that much as Lamar does not really throw to the running backs too much. But he was really solid catching in the preseason. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the inactives list. I'm going to guess probably one of them plays, but I don't know which one. My guess would be Lev Bell, or maybe Lev Bell and Lat Murray are both active. I could see Lat Murray being active just as a kind of like an injury thing, emergency kind of back. But yeah, Tyson Williams I really like, and he's priced at 6.8, which like was really nice. Like I was expecting him to be like 400 or something when the slate dropped. Thank God slate dropped a little late, got his price up to 6.8, which I still do think is cheap. Like if you look at the showdown last night, you saw Montgomery 8.6, Darrell Henderson 7.2 in a timeshare. So I think in a game they're going to score a lot of points, and he's going to get the bulk of the carries with Lamar Jackson. I really do like that. That's pretty much everyone. Justin Tucker I always like. Kickers are always safe on Showdown. Justin Tucker is usually good from anywhere from 8 to 15, so you take that. Baltimore defense I also think is in play. They should get pressure. Although Oakland's not really a team I want to stack against. Like I actually think Derek Carr is better than most people give him credit for. Yeah, only threw 9 picks last year. Their line did get a little worse this year, so I could see Calais Campbell having a big game or something and making the defense playable. But if you guys know me, I hate defenses and just dropped my keyboard. But yeah, I don't like playing defenses in Showdowns. I don't like defenses in fantasy at all. I think it's stupid. So, yeah, over to the Raiders side of the ball. This is where it gets tricky to try and decide which piece you want to stack or play from this side. As Baltimore does really have a good defense. Got a little worse with Marcus Peters being out for the year, but so it's going to be interesting to see how they try to cover Darren Waller. We all know how good he has been the last 2 years. Absolute monster last year, especially to end the year. I see them going kind of all out to stop him, but he's still my favorite Raiders player. I can even see them putting like Jimmy Smith on him and trying out that. I don't know how well it'll work because Waller does have size, but Jimmy Smith is a bigger type cornerback. But I think that Marcus Peters being hurt honestly hurts that. Like Jimmy, honestly all three, or Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey both were fine to like kind of move around. Marcus Peters was kind of stationary on the outside. So I think that might take away the chance of that happening, but you never know. But it is a good matchup outside of that. So Darren Waller very, very much in play. Derek Carr I think is probably honestly a little too cheap. Really boomer bust if you look at it. So you see some 25, some 4s. Not too much in the middle. So in a game that I do expect them to be trailing a lot, I think that he actually does give you some upside. And another thing is Josh Jacobs is questionable, and with him being added late, I do not think that's a good look for him playing. Was banged up all of camp, and now he has an illness. Kind of leaning towards him not playing, and Kenyon Drake is a guy that is more like, he's not a bang-em type of guy. So I think that could honestly lead to more passing time. So I think that does give Derek Carr a decent little boost. So with that, the Josh Jacobs thing being said, so I don't have any interest in him really. You can play him if you think he can score 2 touchdowns. But if he's in, I think you just exile him and Kenyon Drake, and it makes the Raiders a lot harder to pick. But if he does miss, I think Kenyon Drake is pretty solid. I wouldn't expect like a whole workload, as he's never really been that type of guy. Yeah. So, but they paid him decently, so like he's gonna play a lot, and they don't have it back. Jalen Shard's out. Peyton Barber they just picked up, who I honestly think is gonna have to play a decent amount with just the type of player Kenyon Drake has always been. So I think at 2K he does give you some pretty good punt upside, and floor really. But yeah, Kenyon Drake, good pass catcher. Price cheap too, so I have no issue if this were to be my kind of Raiders, my Raiders piece. He's going to be blowout proof, really. As game flow would favor them being down. Like, I could see Peyton Barber trying to, like, them giving him early down work, but that's not what I expect. So if they were to go down and they throw, it's going to be all Kenyon Drake, really. So I do think he is a pretty solid play, even in a bad matchup here. So the tough thing is trying to figure out who Marlon Humphrey's going to guard. He's one of those corners that I just full out don't play guys against. To me, top probably 3 or 4 corner in the NFL, which is really, really good. And so I kind of am guessing that they just play spots on the field and they don't, unless they try to have a game plan for Waller. But they don't have one of those like stud receivers. Bryan Edwards is the one getting all the hype out of camp. Ruggs is the one that is the high draft pick. And honestly, their most what's the word? Established guy is Hunter Renfrow. And I actually really like Hunter Renfrow. 2.8. I don't know why he's so cheap. He's another guy that I think it's a massive boost if Josh Jacobs were to miss. So just go to more of a passing type of tag. And so his problem last year, from what I saw, was they're playing 2 tight ends and just trying to play smash mouth football, which is kind of like what Gruden wants to do. But I just don't see them doing that with Kenyon Drake at running back. So I could see way more 3 wide receiver sets. And the one scare that, going back to what I was just talking about, is that Marlon Humphrey has no issue going in the slot. A lot of those good corners, like he saw the reports that Hunter Renfrow was destroying Jalen Ramsey. It's just different. Playing in the slot, there's so much more that goes on. That's why I always target slot receivers. It's just way easier for them to get open. But Marlon Humphrey's a guy that does not have any problem going there. So, like, if they were to say, like, try to take him out, just because he's really their most established receiver, wouldn't be surprised. Kind of banking on him being on the outside, though. So my rankings for the wide receivers is really like the backwards of the pricing. Renfrow, Ruggs, and Bryan Edwards. Bryan Edwards is getting all kinds of hype in camp. He's like a bigger type guy, so that's who I'd expect Jimmy Smith to guard. But yeah, I think that Gruden's just going to have to come up with like design plays for Ruggs. A lot of people gave him stuff for his season last year as he did not do good, but he's really banged up. I really do believe in the talent. I don't think he's Tyreek Hill, but I do think he's a really good football player, not just a speed guy. I think he has really good hands, pretty solid route running, good with the ball. So I do think he's a really nice little GPP play. That's like the tough thing is him versus Watkins. Like, I do prefer Watkins, but for upside, I think Ruggs probably does have him beat there. And that's, you could throw a dart at Zay Jones. I think that Foster Moreau is another guy. Like, if they were to like have Josh Jacobs, he's a guy that I think will play more snaps. He's a good he profiles well in player profiler. If you need a pure punt throw, like him. And then the only other really punt throw is where is he? Wrong team. For Baltimore is DuVernay. I think he could play in the slot some. But yeah, I just don't really see a reason to go there. Like, if I'm punting, it's probably going to be Peyton Barber if Josh Jacobs were to miss. But yeah, you really don't even have to. Even with Lamar Jackson at captain, like, you could pretty much fit all the core pieces that you would want from the game. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Overall breakdown, you're captaining Lamar. I think that you want to go 4-2 Baltimore. But I honestly think it is viable to go 2-4 in GPPs. I actually like that build a lot, is where you captain Lamar, play like Tyson Williams. Is like, Lamar's one of those guys that you can run naked as a quarterback and have no issues and feel really, really good. As he could run for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that is very, very much in play here in this game. So I think like it's very viable to go with him at captain, Tyson at running back, and then stack the Oakland pass catcher with Derek Carr. So yeah, it's pretty fun slate outside the fact that there's really only one viable captain to me. But yeah, as always, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, And I'll see you next showdown. Later.